Boy, here we go again.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Another day, another Hugh Freeze press conference, another online Auburn fan meltdown. We're going to break that down. It's getting to be impressive, honestly, at this point in time. We're going to break that down here in just a second. Cam's number finally retired, and a freshman defensive lineman may be gone for good. We'll break that down as well. Before we do that, we're going to give a quick shout out to Roback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. No matter what you want, polos, hoodies, shorts, pants, they got it all. And you can go as crazy and wild from a style perspective as you want, or you can go as classic, as solids and stripes as you want. They got everything. They even have Auburn licensed apparel. So save big. Use coupon code BARN20. Show them some love. It's Roback.com. So yesterday, Hugh had two media appearances. He had his Monday morning press conference, which is typically during the season, that's every Monday, I believe. And then he does Tiger Talk on Monday nights now. Used to be on Thursdays. I think it's on Monday evenings now. And that yesterday was the first installation of Tiger Talk yesterday evening. And he said something during the press conference to the tune of, essentially when he was asked about the backup quarterbacks, he talked about how he wouldn't be afraid to put them in if needed. The situation presented itself. And then someone asked him later at Tiger Talk in the evening, could all three quarterbacks play? Could being the key word, could all three quarterbacks play? And he just simply responded with yes. And initially, I did some shows yesterday. Some of them were shortly after the press conference. So it was like really quick, immediate reactions. Hadn't really had time to digest or really see the wake of destruction that those comments made on message boards, on Twitter, on this, on that, whatever. The wake of just melt was incredible over those comments. Auburn, what I've learned is online Auburn fan, okay? Online Auburn fan has an elite ability to take any iota of information, a single bit of a quote that could have 1,000 different meanings. They will pick the worst one, and within a millisecond, they will, and it will be unanimous almost that they will pick the worst one, and that's what they'll run with. So obviously, what Hugh was saying yesterday is we're about to run all kind of wildcat packages. It's going to be like 16 Clemson. We're about to play all three quarterbacks. That's has to be what it means. And the melt that has ensued has been awesome. And it's just another line of things that have been said that are taken and gone extreme to the worst case scenario. I mean, you go back to the NIL stuff earlier in the summer. Everybody's an idiot. Everybody's stupid. We're stupid. We don't know what we're doing, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward to now, and you just landed a five, or you're hopefully going to be landing a 5-star safety here at the end of the week. You just landed a guy that's probably going to be a 5-star wide receiver, another top 100 linebacker, a 4-star offensive tackle, all within the last, 30 days? yeah, you're still 35th, but you only have 13 commits or 12 commits. I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse, and that's always a bad thing to do. In perfect position, if you have a little bit of success on the field to flip you 4 or 5 guys that you need and just skyrocket up the rankings. I mean, you've gone if you land Braylon Womack here at the end of the week, I mean, you will have jumped, I think, 30 spots, 30 close to 30 spots, I think, in just 2 commits. That's how fast, and that's how fast you can climb when you add guys of this caliber. Then you shift over a little bit and it goes to the play calling thing, which is without a doubt, the dumbest melt I've ever seen from a fan base. Without a doubt, the dumbest reach from a lot of people that know better in the media. You got that. And that wasn't even Hugh Freeze. That was Derek Nix that opened that can of worms. And now you have this. There are so many different things that could mean. Like so many different things that could mean. And here's another aspect to look at it. If the first question that was asked was basically, how are the backups developing? That's what the question was. And it ended up like, hey man, they're doing great. To the point of, hey, if I wouldn't be even scared to shove one out there if I needed to. That's kind of how the answer went. And we, instead of being excited about the development of the backup quarterbacks, the only thing that like I said, the only thing that online Auburn fan could do is go to the absolute worst case scenario and say, that has to be what that means. What if he would have said, they suck, man? If we get to the point where we got to put in one of the backup quarterbacks, we're in a lot of trouble. Is that what you would rather him say? There ain't no way we're running any Wildcat. There ain't no way we're running anything. If Jackson goes down, we're screwed. Is that what we wanted him to say? Is that the alternative? What would have happened if he would have said, we're focused on Jackson. He's going to be the guy that, hopefully we can, if we blow him out, if we blow Baylor out, we can start getting some, other guys reps. We would have jumped all over him for that. There's no, at this point in time, if I'm Hugh Freeze, I just stopped doing press conferences. I just stopped talking to everybody because there's nothing I can say to win I cannot win anything until I go win on the field. Once I win on the field, then everybody that pretends to care about what I say now is not going to care anymore. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'll be the first to tell you, if we do start running some Wildcat stuff out there and it's like, middle of the first quarter and we're rotating 3 quarterbacks, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to be aggravated. I got to feel like there is a very small percentage chance that that's going to happen. I mean, he even said Deuce is having trouble with slide protections, understanding, that part of the game, like what to do with the offensive line. That doesn't seem like you want to put him out there game one if just on a whim. That's a pretty big deal. So let's take that statement. Could all 3 quarterbacks play? He says, yeah. What are the ways that happens? What if Auburn gets up on Baylor early? What if Auburn gets to a 3 or 4 score lead? Have we not been yearning for the ability to put teams away so you can get other guys in, other quarterbacks in to play? Have we not seen game after game after game of that part of it mismanaged? Playing with our food, not being able to put teams away, questionable rotation after you do put teams away and you start putting people in. What happens when those guys go in the game? Is it handoff practice or are they running a version of the offense? Isn't that what we've kind of been wanting for a while? And then I guess injuries could end up being allowing one of these guys or both to play. Do you feel better if there's an injury that there's at least some confidence in Ashton? There's some confidence in Deuce that if the situation presents itself, they feel there's confidence around those guys. At least Hugh's building confidence in some of the backups. Doesn't that make you feel at least a little bit better than it has in the past? Does it have to mean that Ashton's going to go in on second down, Deuce is going to go in on third down and throw a bomb? I mean, is that what it has to mean? Like there can't be any critical thinking or like discussion whatsoever about what the options are that it could be. It has to be the negative. Look, I get it. 2 years ago was awful. Okay. I think that was more so of Hugh saying, I want to give the play calling off, and then saying, oh man, this is way tougher than I thought it was going to be. I have to have some kind of package that's mine kind of thing. And I think that was what the Robbie deal was. Last year, I really only think there was like one example of that happening during the game, and that was Sam Jackson. Now it was bad, and I never want to see it again, and I hope we learn our lesson from that. You rotated quarterbacks, but that was like you're benching one and then bringing one back in, not like rotating in drives and things like that. I don't really think that happened, and I think maybe you only went to Wildcat to the running back. I don't know, not very often, if any. I think I can remember Jarquez getting a couple of snaps and them not really going well. Again, I don't get how. I don't want to say I don't get. I get it. But it's just amazing to me how this summer has gone, where it doesn't matter what the information is. Online Auburn fan will take whatever they can and go as far immediately to the negative version of it as possible. And then the media picks up on it, and then it becomes this big cycle. I know some people are going to say, well, Hugh Freeze has got to be smarter in what he says. He can't say anything. What do you mean? Like, we talked about it a little bit on Zach's show today. And like at the time, it made sense. But the more I think about it, it doesn't matter what he says. If there is a setup of any possible way, there can be 1% of something that could be taken and run with negative, it's going to be done. It's more so us, in my opinion, than it is Hugh Freeze. He can't win right now. He can't win a press conference until he starts winning games. And then we'll all expose ourselves of who really can. If he goes out and wins 10 games, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to expose themselves of, hey, maybe I don't really care as much as I thought I did about things that he said. But anyway, I went a little bit long on that, but it's it's impressive. It's impressive how we can take something and run with it. I want to talk about Cam's number being retired and a freshman defensive lineman possibly being gone. We'll be back right after this. Big deal yesterday where Auburn retired Cam Newton's jersey, became sort of headlines all across social media, sports media, talked about on a lot of sports shows. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I'm not a huge fan of retiring numbers in general. That goes for all of them, even that are already retired. But I will say this. If there was a criteria that deserved having a number retired, I would say having a Heisman Trophy, winning a national championship, directing an offense that had 0 players drafted or really ever play in the NFL, going to the NFL as the number 1 overall pick, winning the MVP, league MVP at least once, playing in the Super Bowl. I would say that's probably pretty good criteria to have your number retired. It's much better to do it this way than it's been done because it was like we were honoring it in secret. Like there's this arbitrary time period that you have to live out before you can retire a number. Shoot, Colorado proved that's not the case. You can do it. You can do it the very next year. Now I know we can talk about the criteria around those numbers retired, but regardless, it's going to be big. And from what I understand, what the press and whatnot are saying is that they're going to honor it. They're going to like announce it, honor it at the Georgia game, the Georgia home game, game 6, right after the bye week. And I think that's pretty genius scheduling. Now, it's your first SEC home game, so that makes some sense in and of itself. But with everything that could build up to that Georgia game, having the Cam Newton ceremony thing prior to kickoff could take an already electric atmosphere and have that place ready to explode. I mean, you're talking if you go 4-1 over that first stretch, you're probably going to be ranked. You're probably going to be you're going to have a lot of hype anyway. You're going to have a huge recruiting weekend, I would imagine. You're coming off of a bye week. It's a night game against Georgia at home. You finally maybe feel, especially if you have a good start to the season, feel like maybe you got a shot in this one. I'm telling you, man, that place, that ticket will be worth whatever it costs, I would imagine. That atmosphere, I think that ticket would be worth whatever you can pay to get inside that stadium. It would be worth it. I think that's smart. I think that was really smart. Again, I'm not crazy about the whole concept of retiring numbers, but I do love honoring your legends. I do love honoring guys that put Auburn on the map, and I think Cam Newton deserves it. And it's fun. It's fun to see people get mad. It's mostly opposing fan bases. Here's another thing. This is a little bit of a sidebar, okay? We have to stop viewing the $180,000, in my opinion. You got to stop looking at that when people say, oh, you bought him, oh, you did this. You have to stop looking at that as an insult and start looking at that as a compliment, especially nowadays with NIL. Every other team is paying players. Was paying players. Like, let's don't play this pretend game that Alabama or Georgia or USC or insert any of those teams at that point in time that were really good. USC, not really, but they were really good. Obviously, they got in trouble for, the Reggie Bush stuff. So everybody's paying players. Why can't Auburn? That's my whole thing. Why? When we used to say, oh, they're cheating. That's why we couldn't get that player. They cheated. They dropped a bag. Well, dadgummit, why couldn't we drop bags? Dadgummit, why couldn't we cheat better? I mean, seriously, if that's the rules of the game, why couldn't we partake? And then finally, when we do and go out and make the greatest investment of all time, win a national championship, be proud of it. Auburn did. I don't know for a fact anybody took any money. I kind of feel pretty confident that it happened. And I'm okay with that. Be proud of it. Who cares? Who cares? What are they going to do at this point in time? The games were still won on the field. Be proud of it. That's how I look at it, man. Heck yeah. Auburn decided they were going to play big boy ball, and they went and got the best player they could possibly get, and they won a championship. Alabama did it every single recruiting class. I could tell you thousands of stories, hundreds of stories about guys where Auburn wasn't quite organized as well off behind the scenes as some of the bigger programs to be able to go get those top guys when they really wanted them. You got Cam. Be proud of it, man. Turn it around on them. Heck yeah. It's the best thing. You kidding me? Y'all paying kids millions of dollars. We won a national championship off 180,000 or whatever the number was. Turn it around on them. Antonio Coleman was announced he was suspended indefinitely yesterday. If you remember him, he's the kid from Saraland that committed and decommitted 4 or 5 times. Very, very good kid, very, very good player, man. He was going to be, if he could handle the between the years part of it, I think he was going to be a really good college player. I think he's had, I think there's just been a lot of issues since he's been here. No judgment. I know everybody comes from different backgrounds. Everybody has different situations. I just think it's been a struggle for him, an adjustment for him ever since he's been here. I mean, just look at the weight thing. You know, you come in, you lose 20 or 30 pounds. When you're playing a position, you need to be going the other way. I think he could be a really explosive, quick interior defensive lineman if he ever can figure out, how to make it all work off the field. And so obviously wish him the best. Hopefully he gets everything turned around and he can find a home. It didn't say he was gone forever. It said suspended indefinitely, which typically means your career at Auburn is over. But we'll see. I know he was one of those top, that big defensive line class, high 4-star guy. So I'm sure that commanded a pretty big NIL price. So if you're looking at the rev share deal, like that frees up some stuff that you have an opportunity to go look elsewhere. So it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I don't think he would have played, honestly, at all. I don't think he would have played at all this year. He was too light, way too light. He had a long way to go physically to be ready to play. But there's no denying that burst. There's no denying that motor. So hopefully, again, he can find a good spot and turn things around. Guys, let me know what you think about the show. Let me know what you think about the comments that were made. Let me know what you think about my take on online Auburn fan. It's impressive, man. It's impressive. Again, if I'm Hugh, just say no more media appearances. I can't win no matter what. And one thing that I didn't even talk about is like, why would you hold anything back from the media right now when you're talking about game plan stuff as far as throwing anything out there that Baylor could have to think about? That's what most smart coaches do. They know when to put little things out there that they know the media will pick up, they know will circulate. And now that's got to be on their board. Deuce Knight could have a package. Ashton Daniels, power runner, 6'2" or 3, 220, 230 pounds. Like, that has to be on their mind. We got to come up with something, We got to spend a little bit of time on that. So it doesn't always have to be the bad. It doesn't always have to be the worst version of the information. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. We'll talk again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.